get to know the artist behind the epic melodies, songs, and beats. Celebrating the best new music from around the world. This is the A State of Trance podcast.
Hey, what's up? My name is Ruben de Ronde and welcome to a new A State of Trance podcast within the studio for the third time for a podcast today. Estiva.
Yes, happy to be back.
How are you doing?
I'm great.
Are you frightened for the questions that I'm going to ask you?
Always.
No, definitely not.
No,
First
I'm ready.
of all, congratulations on the release on your album, Embrace. It's out.
Thanks, Ruben.
14 new tracks that you've been creating in the last 2 years, I would say.
Yeah.
So how's the reaction so far on the tracks that you've released? As the singles, for example?
Yeah, I think we've released 5 singles now. And they're different. Some of them are more clubby, and the last one, Shores, is more radio-ish, a vocal track. Yeah, I've been playing these tracks out for
a long time.
Yeah, for a long time, and it's great to see them on Spotify and for everyone to hear.
I had the honor to play some of these for a long time, also.
Yes,
especially KFIL. One of the tracks. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a couple of tracks on the album that have your vocals on it, right?
Yeah, and KFIL is one of them. And this is actually funny that you mentioned this track because I made this track maybe 3 years ago, and I never played it. And then maybe 2 years ago, I saw you play it at A State of Trance.
Yeah, the warm-up set, yeah.
And that was recorded, so I was just checking your set and you were playing that track. And I was like, oh, it works on the dance floor. It's nice. And people were asking.
You see the comments underneath the video that I posted. People were asking about this track. It's like, hey, what is this track? I'm like, well.
Yeah, so basically, thanks to you.
You're welcome.
It's on the album now.
It was one of those tracks that you kind of forgot about, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't even know I had it lying around. But that track has my vocals on it.
Yeah.
Run through a vocoder, so you can't really hear that's me. And trust me, no one wants to hear the actual Steven singing.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of more tracks on. So Parlez-vous has my vocals on it. You wouldn't be able to hear that either.
Yeah. Well, because I know your voice so well that I hear that it's you.
You do,
yeah. So, but if you don't know that it's you, then you won't hear that it's you.
Yeah, I guess some characteristics or some tonalities come through.
Yeah.
And there's one that really focuses on the vocal. It's the last track of the album.
Mm-hmm.
It's called No Echoes. That's me as well.
Okay.
But it's like an ambient kind of track.
Do you have any singing ambitions as well?
I mean,
we just recorded something, so maybe, I don't know. Let's put on some reverb. Yeah, it's beautiful. No, don't do it.
No, it's great to be able to sing if you can. But luckily nowadays, I can't sing. But luckily nowadays, you have so many tools to make my voice sound like someone singing.
Yeah,
not the best one, but I can. Yeah.
So you're just embrace AI. That's what you're doing as well.
AI or emulators or AI, is that a bad word?
Is it?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I'm using like loads of tools to shape my voice into something that is listenable.
Listenable. I like that. So like I said, you're here for the third time. So we're gonna do things a little bit different. If you want to hear the full story about how Estiva started making music, started to DJing, make sure to check it because I think that's one of the first ones that we actually recorded. Mm-hmm. After that, last year we did a podcast together, and now it's the third time. So we're going to do things a little bit differently. So first of all, there's a couple of people here in the studio that will have a question for you. They're very quiet. I think they're kind of nervous, so we'll get to that later. Don't worry. So I keep them nervous. You know, that's what we do. Build the tension. But we're going to start with some rapid fire questions. So short answers only.
Oh, like yes, no answers?
Yes, no, or whatever. Just very short.
Okay.
Day or night studio sessions?
Night studio sessions.
Analog synths or digital?
Digital.
Yeah. Most overused plugin on Embrace?
Valhalla delay.
Okay. Yeah, Valhalla is in your tracks a lot. I know that. Coffee or tea while making music, or something else?
Tea.
Finish this sentence. A track isn't done until...
It's on the album.
And this is a good one, because I know, like, if you listen to all productions, then you hear interesting things. The weirdest sound that you sampled or created on this album. In the past, you used pool balls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Snooker balls.
And I've recorded my girlfriend asking me what time the ferry's leaving.
In Nostalgia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this one, to be honest, I would say my own voice.
Yeah.
Because I used a lot of my own voice. And I haven't done that quite a lot, so...
Okay.
And my voice is weird, so...
That's true. Your go-to snack during long studio hours?
Ooh. Cheese.
Een blokje of een plakje?
Blokje kaas.
Een blokje kaas of een plakje kaas?
Plakje kaas. Plakje worst.
A slice of cheese or sausage?
To be honest, I don't eat or drink a lot during a studio session. When the studio session is good, I'm in the zone and I forget about drinking and eating. And then after 5 hours, you're...
Dehydrating.
Yeah, almost dying. Like, oh, I need water.
I understand that one. Track you would play during a 3 a.m. road trip?
Ooh,
middle of the night on a road trip.
something M83.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
And now a track that you would save for a Sunrise Festival set?
Via Infinita.
Oh yeah, I understand that one. That makes a lot of sense. It's a good track. Is that one of the tracks now that if you don't play it in a set, people will get angry at you?
No, people don't get angry, but
disappointed.
I feel like people expect that track, and I love playing it out because it just
it's a feel good track.
Yeah,
lots of smiles on the dance floor.
Yeah, and everyone, as soon as I start mixing it in, people know, they recognize the percussion, and then the melody comes in, and it's always a good reaction. So I love that track. Is dear to me. I think it's my favorite track I've ever done in my life because of the feedback from people, and also the feedback from other DJs and the wide variety of DJs that played that track.
It opened a lot of doors for you as well.
Yeah. And I felt like I'm never really proud of a track. I'm never really proud of my music, but when you get so many good reactions, and I just have a really good feeling with that track. And I think I should. It's special. So
for that one, you could leave the imposter syndrome outside of the door.
I guess, yeah.
Definitely. All right, let's go into the album, because Embrace came out, of course, 2 weeks ago. Was there a specific moment or experience that sparked the idea to make this album, this project?
Yeah, it comes maybe out of some negativity, because traveling as an artist can get lonely sometimes. You're not always feeling well because you're tired and you have to go hop on another plane, and then you're stuck in a hotel. But then the contrast of that is playing for hundreds of people in a club, in a loud environment, where you have to be the star. So there's some friction there, and I think I've always struggled a bit with that. But with everything that is tough or uncomfortable, if you let yourself embrace that uncomfortable moment, then you will grow and you start to feel less uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I just, in general, like contrasts because it makes you feel alive, I guess.
Yeah. What is it that makes you feel uncomfortable then?
I don't know, man. It's weird when you're so I did a show in the Netherlands really recently, and I just sat on my couch, and then I had to drive for 60 minutes, and then I was in a party environment, and I'm like, this is such a big switch. You have to almost like act that you're an artist.
Yeah,
that's how I feel sometimes. It doesn't really come natural to me, so I have to put on a mood. Or a mode, turn on the artist mode, basically.
Yeah, you go from Steven to Estiva.
Yeah. And that's sometimes, I don't always feel comfortable doing that, and it doesn't really feel real. Sometimes it does when you're it goes the same for studio sessions. Sometimes you're in the studio and you're not really feeling it and you're not really in the flow. But other times you're in some sort of God mode. Everything happens, it flows out of you. And that flow state, you can reach that in DJing as well. But there's just sometimes that you don't get there, and that feels awkward.
Yeah. But in the studio, you can switch off the computer and you go back to your gaming or whatever. But
and there's no
whenever you do a
audience.
show, you have to put it on anyway.
Yeah, true.
How do you force yourself to doing that then?
I mean, there's no other choice. But
do people notice it, you think?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think the vulnerability you show sometimes when you're not 100% okay behind the stage. And I think it's fine that it's there. People in the crowd have those kind of moments as well. And yeah, I think that comes back to embrace. Like if you embrace those moments, you don't have to worry about these things because we're all humans. We make mistakes. We feel uncomfortable. And it's good that you have those downsides because then you can experience the upsides.
Yeah, yeah.
And that contrast is good, makes you feel alive.
Yeah, that's very true. So the feeling that you're describing that you're doing Embrace, you're making the album. So you have a picture in the back of your mind, maybe a mental picture or an emotional state that you have to create for yourself to build a picture for Embrace? Or was it just small bits and pieces that you had different states of mind that you put together? Yes. Or did you have it in your mind all the time that you had to create something for that?
Well, so I usually, the way I produce is, so let's say I play a set on Saturday and I only play my own songs during a 2-hour set. And then I feel like, okay, I wish I had this kind of track for this kind of moment to create a certain energy in the room. And sometimes I don't have that track in my arsenal. And then when I go back into the studio, I have something that I can work on. So I can make that specific moment in the studio to be able to play that later in my DJ set to fill that gap that I basically have, or that I felt that I have at that time.
Yeah, you described this whole process in the last podcast as well.
Yeah.
I was listening to that yesterday actually. But I was just wondering if there's a difference that you are making an album or you're doing a DJ set.
No, it's
the same.
Yeah, it's kind of the same. So I approached the whole DJ set as some sort of story with ups and downs and moments of clarity and moments of dizziness and peaks. And I want all those emotions and elements on the album as well. And I want to create album tracks that are comfortable being played in clubs, but also comfortable being played while you're listening into your room or in your car.
Did you, because the last album, Infinita, was of course created mostly in Corona times, I would say. Did you approach it differently because you didn't have the clubs back then? Then when you created that album, did you approach this album differently because you could play them out, those songs?
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of the album tracks were fed off of via Infinita or some of the Infinita tracks. I kind of build on that kind of style. But because I produce so much, I can also play out all the demos live. And then sometimes you feel like, okay, this track's not done yet, or this track needs this. And then I can use that in the studio to be able to finalize that. And then I can decide, does this track has a place on the album? And you have to see all the other tracks that you want to put on there. And then you have to decide, okay, is there some sort of cohesion? But it helps a lot if I play out the tracks, because then I get accustomed to the tracks and then I can judge them better, I guess.
Or forget them.
Or forget them, yeah.
And rediscover them later.
Yeah, and luckily I have you then too.
I try. So let's go into a little bit of the nerd talk, because I know a lot of people that listen to this podcast are actually producers themselves as well, or DJs. What tools or techniques did you lean into the most while making this album? Besides, you already mentioned Valhalla plugins, for example.
There's actually some elements that I use while DJing as well. So there's one simple trick. I might have told this before, but I use reverb in breakdowns of the actual track. But when I'm DJing, I sometimes put some extra reverb in breakdowns to make things bigger or more airy. And then I completely cut off that reverb on the drop to make that bass pop out more. And that's what I do in productions as well. So just put a reverb on the master and let that
just go.
Yeah,
just put it open. That's it.
Yeah, but then cut it off when the beat kicks in.
Yeah, okay. Now, because I wanted to mention this one as well, because Keep Falling in Love, KFIL, it's a bit of Daft Punkish. What made you go into that kind of direction? Because it's very different from the rest of the tracks that are on the album.
Yeah, I think that mostly has to do with the percussion, the drums, and maybe the bass. It feels a little bit disco-y.
Yeah.
Maybe
the vocoder also on the vocal.
Oh yeah, of course. I made that track such a long time ago, but I feel like every album or every period of time, I reach to certain sounds and I use certain tricks in the studio, and then I keep repeating those tricks, so that defines your sound. But then you move on to, you learn new tricks, and then you implement those tricks more and more and more, and then you kind of move away from your older sound a little bit. But then you sometimes go back into those older projects, and then you discover, oh, that was a fun trick, that was a fun thing to do, or I like those sounds. Then you go back to those, and then you have a lot more tools to work with and a lot more tricks to use. So you cycle through them, and it keeps you going forward. But also, it's nice to check back on what you did. So when I'm listening to K-Phil right now, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I should do more stuff like that, because it works on the dance floor. And that's also weird, because with Via Infinita, I never thought that would be such a big track. I thought it's going to be a B track.
Yeah.
But it had the biggest reaction. And with K-Phil as well, like you said, I forgot about that track, and now I'm playing it everywhere, and everyone just, big feedback on that track.
Yeah, because it's just such a feel-good track. It is 100%. I mean, you created it yourself. So how do you also, what I would like to know, how do you balance the emotional depth in the songs? Because let's say Lonely Keys is so different from, let's say, the vocal tracks from the album. Lonely Keys is more like a housey piano kind of track.
Yeah.
Is that again putting the right spots in a DJ set that you?
Yeah, totally. This is, if you have too many of those vocal tracks, I feel like, okay, we need something else to bring the audience to a different move, to a different emotion. And then you bring on Lonely Keys. But if you have all the same tracks like Lonely Keys, then everything becomes stale as well. So, all the tracks on the album were made with me thinking behind the decks, okay, I wish I had a track like this. So they each serve their own purpose, and they're very intentional. I know what moment I want to spin those tracks. And it was quite interesting to see them all together on an album.
That's awesome. Were there any happy accidents in the studio that turn into like very key moments in tracks?
I think all my tracks are happy accidents, and that's this is the imposter syndrome, right?
Yeah.
Right? And I never know what I'm doing. Basically, I'm just doing whatever, and then I feed off what I hear from what I'm doing. So sometimes you're just doing stuff, and you think, okay, that sounds cool. Let's work on that more. And this feels weird to say that, but almost with every track this happens. I never start a track and then finish it and then realize like, oh, this is exactly what I wanted. No, it's never like that. It always ends up different. And I think that's, if you accept that, then the magic starts to happen.
Yeah. Do you use a lot of referencing? Because I know in the past that you were inspired by a lot of different artists and then took it bits and pieces and made it yourself. But it feels like you're doing the opposite now. That you're That people
No.
are starting to copy you, what you're doing.
I hope so. That's a big compliment, I guess. But no, I don't do any referencing. The only referencing that I do is just playing the set and playing my own music, and then realizing I'm missing a track, and then I create that.
And there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's talk about some collaborations on the album, because you did a track with Galia and Liz Cass. There are some other vocal tracks on there, but the artists are not, how do you say it, credited?
Well, credited, but not featured on.
Not featured. Okay, let's say it like that. How did your collaborations come about? Like, how do you find? Because it's a new sort of vocalist. I've never heard of them before. How did it come about?
So Colorize, their studio, their office, they just built new studios.
That's the label that's releasing the album, of course. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Colorize Music, and they have 3 amazing studios, and they're open to use if I want to. So whatever happens, if I go to London, they usually hook me up with amazing, talented people like Galia or Liz Cass, and we just sit in the studio and start writing music. And it was really interesting because I'm kind of a loner in the studio. I feel like if I'm doing stuff and people are around me in the studio, then I get nervous. I'm not myself anymore because I feel almost like I need to perform.
Yeah.
And
like, hey, I have to be the producer.
Yeah. I have to come
like
up
a
with
DJ.
amazing.
Yeah.
And that's not how I like to write. So I like to be in my own space, and I like to be in my own world, and then allowing stuff to happen.
With a plukje kaas.
And making a lot of and making a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
And like I said, happy accidents, I guess. But that's very awkward when people are around you. You're constantly feeling like, okay, yeah, sorry, I'm not there yet. I'm just trying stuff, but everything you're trying may sound weird or not good, and you feel like they're judging you.
Yeah,
they aren't, but that's just how I feel.
It. Yeah, I have the same feeling. So whenever I go into songwriting camps, I just take like full on demos with me.
Yeah.
So I don't have to worry about anything that I did on before. I'm comfortable enough with what I created and to get into the session, rather than sitting there behind a piano, just playing notes that don't make sense or whatever. So
yeah, that's a good one. I do that as well. And what I also do is we get in the studio, and then I just tell people, okay, can you leave me alone for an hour or something, and I will just try stuff and then invite them back in. But it's also, like I was telling earlier, it's like the moments that you're uncomfortable, if you have to challenge yourself to go through it, and then you learn from it, and then you feel more comfortable at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But this is one thing I have to learn.
Yeah. So you sat in the studio with these 2 singers, maybe some others as well. Did you write the lyrics together as well, or did you just leave them doing their craft and just sit back, or how does it go?
Yeah, I think working with such good artists, I don't want to interfere in their creativity. Of course, I'm gonna judge, and I'm gonna encourage if I hear something cool. But especially with Liz, the track Satellite, it was fun because I was just building the track and playing the chords, and she was there sitting silently behind me, writing on her phone. And I got insecure because I thought, okay,
you didn't hear anything.
I didn't hear anything. I was like, maybe she's not feeling this, and I gave her kind of instructions what I want to hear, and it just took us a while, but out of nowhere she said, okay, I think I'm ready.
You're like, what? Ready? How?
Yeah. Okay,
what do you mean?
Very curious what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
And then this amazing vocal came to us, and I was like, oh, okay. If this is the way you're working, keep on doing that because it's amazing. And with Galia, it was very different. We just had a great time, and I think we had 4 tracks or demos that we're working on. I felt very comfortable with her. It was just a fun time, and Feel Alive is just one of the tracks that we did. Yeah.
So you just had a different kind of chemistry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny to see, like, because, all of us work in a very different way, but if you're going to a session with several writers and singers, they have such different way of working as well. It's like exactly what you say. Sometimes they would just lay back on a couch and just writing stuff, and you don't know what's going to happen. In the meantime, you just sit there like, am I supposed to loop this again, or what do you want to do?
You feel insecure, and it's.
Yeah.
I mean, you meet these people, and you've never seen us before.
Yeah.
And I always try to go to lunch to get to vibe with each other. I think that helps.
Mm-hmm.
But you just have to accept that you're all human beings, and you have to give each other time to feel comfortable with each other and to be vulnerable with each other. And because making music is so, you get so vulnerable. It's so deep.
That's very true. Very true.
So it's scary.
So talking about that, which track makes you feel the most vulnerable out of the 14 on the album?
Probably Little Love,
mm-hmm.
because it's it very intentionally holds back. It's some people may find it like not peaking, or I find it very subtle.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not a lot of stuff happening, but because of the automation in some of the instruments, it feels very subtle and very
keeping it sort of small. Yeah.
I like that in a track, and I think that's the hardest thing to do, because it's very easy to come up with big builds and big drops,
big reverbs.
Yeah, but sometimes it's very nice to just hold back.
Yeah. So now the album is released. What do you hope that listeners or fans feel or take away when they listen to the full album? What do you hope to hear after a person heard the whole thing?
I think what I would find super cool is that when I'm writing tracks, I create some sort of little world, and I have feelings and emotions with that track. But I think it would be super fun if those emotions don't match with the listener, that all the listeners have their own feelings and emotions, and we're all different people with different experiences, so different tracks can hit differently as
mm-hmm.
well. So I would find it super cool if some of the tracks that I find, they have a certain meaning for me, but other people say, oh, this means this to me, or I get this kind of feeling.
So total different interpretation of the songs that you have.
I think that would be cool.
Yeah. Well, let's ask some people here, because we have 3 people that have questions. Who would like to start first? Sveta, put on the headphones. Yeah, come on in. Don't be shy. Put on the headphones. You can. Let me see this one. If you can.
Yeah.
Take it out. There we go. All right. Who are you, and what would you like to hear from Steven?
Hi, my name is Svetlana, and there is one track from your album which resonates with me probably the most at this moment.
Yeah.
And has some very special click. The track called Sudden Moves.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And can you share the story behind it and tell us a little bit about your creation journey?
Definitely, yeah. Cool to hear. I'm really curious what kind of emotions you get there. We'll get there later. My intention with this track was, it's a very key track on the album, because the contrast between the breakdown, where basically nothing happens, it's just a filtered percussion loop, and it gets really, really empty before it just unleashes out of nowhere into all the sounds that I had on my palette. So this,
the big steps.
Yeah, and right before that is just 1 minute of a filtered loop where just nothing happens, and that was very intentional, because I thought, okay, it would be so cool to play this in a club and having people wondering, okay, what is he doing? Why is he removing all of the sound, and why is it taking so long? And then boom, hit them with the chords.
I think the first time I heard it was in we played in Montreal together.
Yeah.
And then I played just before you, and I I'm a big fan of you as well. So I went to the club earlier just to watch your set as well. That was the first time I think I heard it. It was like just a slap in your face, like poof, there's the track. So I would like to know, Svetlana, why out of all the tracks is this the one that hits you the most? Because it's not a typical, like normal people are like, they listen to an album and the vocals or stand out or whatever. This is a massive club track. Because of
Well-
a certain memory you have with it, or
No, not quite. It's actually not an easy question for me.
No?
I cannot answer like this.
yeah,
Maybe that's something I need to think about. But for me, it either clicks or doesn't click.
yeah.
So, and it's personal thing.
So the first time you heard it, you were straight
Bam.
away like, "This is it."
This is it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it a positive feeling, or is there friction? Is it
Yeah, it's very positive.
Emotional?
Okay, that's good. Yeah. No, I can understand that. Especially if you hear it for the first time in a club, then you're surrounded by your friends, and they probably have the same reaction playing it. And
Yeah.
that I understand that it's such an impactful track, especially if you hear it in a big sound system.
Yeah.
And you have a great night, and that song comes on, and it sticks with you. That's how I understand that it becomes such an important track for you.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Well, thank you
Yeah.
for the question, and thank you for sharing the story with us today.
Thank you
Really
so much.
Thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I hope you can play it a lot more times for her.
I
on
will
the
definitely
dance
do.
floor.
Yeah. It's great to know these kind of things.
All right, next one. Dun, dun, dun. The next question. Who are you? And please have your question.
Hello, my name is Maciej.
Of course,
And-
before you're going to ask you a question, I just wanted to say this is the man that won the DJ contest last year on A State of Trance. So you might
Sick.
recognize him performing in Rotterdam as well. So
Nice.
up-and-coming artist from
Thank
Poland.
you.
So have your question.
So I wanted to ask you about using AI tools because, of course, the main purpose is to get some ideas. But do you think it also kills the creativity process in some way?
Good question.
If, for example, we are progressing with things too fast? Like, I just would love to hear your 2 cents about using AI for the music production.
Well, I can answer it in a way that I use AI is just as a tool, and it opened the tools I'm using. They open a lot of creativity for me. For instance, I can now use my own voice, which I wasn't able to do before, and I think that improves my output. Of course, there's tools that make you do shortcuts basically. But right now, I think the tools aren't there to match with the actual creativity of people. It's an interesting question, and I don't really want to think about what happens if we're all just going to let AI take over our jobs. At the end of the day, I think I've discussed this before as well. People want to vibe with something real. So if they see people doing an art, it resonates a lot more than when someone is letting the computer do anything.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there because AI becomes a bigger how do you say tool that everybody's using. Like I know a lot of people also use it to create full tracks, for example, or write songs, whatever. But and sometimes I'm a little bit afraid that we're going to be replaced by it as well because you see it a lot happening already. But it also gives you a lot of tools to actually what Steven does.
Yeah, and
Help out. And I think in the end of the day, what we're doing, there's some things that cannot be replaced by AI. For example, what Svetlana was just saying, that being in a club with your friends around you, hearing that track on full volume played by your favorite artist, that's something that can never be replicated by AI, I think.
And if anything, it just opens up so many opportunities in creativity. And it will be interesting to see how people are going to use different tools and how it will progress us as artists.
But I know that you're making music as well. Do you use a lot of AI in what you're doing? Like, for example, nowadays there's a bunch of EQs or limiters or compressors that pretty much can do everything by AI already. Is it something that you use as well, or?
It definitely helps with, for example, getting the equalizer settings right. But I think you also need to trust your ears because AI can also make mistakes because, of course, it's learning. And I think it's important to still have like a double, triple check. You can send it to another person just to check if there's something that you need to fix.
Yeah.
Like some elements, percussion, whatever.
But every time that AI is doing that, it's becoming better and better and better and better. So
I think it's maybe like a good starting point.
Yeah.
But you still need to tweak it a bit to your preference.
Yeah. All right.
And to add to that, like most AI tools are, they can sometimes make mistakes, but when they don't, they're very clinical and very straight. And I think with music, the imperfections in life in general, imperfections are amazing. So if everything is perfect, then no one's gonna like that.
Yeah, I think you need that human touch to your music production.
Yeah, I spoke about this with Giuseppe Ottaviani as well in the podcast recently. And he was saying the same thing about like live performances, that sometimes you have to put in like a little mistake if you're playing keyboards, whatever, and people notice that it's live. That also gives you a little bit of charm, I would say.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be perfect. That's a good take.
Yeah, I still remember some In Search of Sunrise series by Chesto. They had some of the mixes weren't that great. They were off key a little bit, but somehow that felt great.
Yeah, that's very true. I didn't realize that until a few years later that they were so off key.
Yeah,
some of them, because in Search of Sunrise 2, I had it. I used that at least for 2 or 3 years just to fall asleep at night. I would always put it on and then fall asleep, and then I didn't listen to it for a few years. And then I started listening to it again with the knowledge that I have right now, and I'm like, holy shit, that's a bad mix. But
yeah,
it's funny just how it goes. Well, thank you for your question. Let's go to
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Your studio partner.
Also, gefeliciteerd met je nieuwe album.
Hey. Dankjewel.
Duolingo.
Nice one.
Let's go to Ross. Always has good questions. So I'm curious for this one.
It's actually a question to both of you.
Oh no, I know what he's going to ask.
Here we go.
Yeah, you guys make music together quite often. We know Rainbow, we know Horosho, a bunch of other tracks, and you guys have an alias together now too, Ebenezer. I think Ruben has been playing one tune in particular very often.
Yeah.
Is this track gonna get a release?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Actually, I think we're gonna walk upstairs later and just to talk about it with some A&Rs here as well, because I feel so. It's the alias is called Ebenezer, which is the middle name of one of our favorite football players, like you did in the past with Kudus.
Yeah.
Now with
Brian Brobby.
Yeah. Now Brian Brobby, the middle name is Ebenezer. We're both Ajax fans, and for Dream State we started the alias because we were supposed to perform together, not last year but the year before. Some things went wrong with the visa things, I would say. So I went there by myself and then played the songs, and I didn't realize that some of the songs were so big, especially the one that you're mentioning. I've been playing it every single set, and you didn't play it ever until recently.
He played it at ASOT.
I needed Ruben again to notify me, like, hey, you should play this. The same with Gayfil.
Yeah.
So I played.
Every time I saw you, I was like, did you play it? Did you play it? Did you play it? Yeah.
Finally did, and didn't disappoint.
And people are saying that it's the sit-down track because I like to do sit-downs with that track. Also,
it
at
works.
It
works.
Yeah. Well, I would say I hope very soon. But it's of course Steven had to focus also on his album. I had some music to finish as well. So it's there, and luckily it's pretty timeless, I would say, than what we created. So it doesn't lean on any trends or whatever. So I think, but it's time. It's time to put those songs out.
Yeah, definitely.
I knew you would ask this, Ross.
Too predictable.
Do you have anything else that you would like to ask Steven?
Well, you mentioned the aliases. So I know you're releasing a lot under Cosmos Sky. Is this maybe an alias that we can expect album or more music from? Because I personally really love the Cosmos Sky stuff. So
yeah, Cosmos Sky and Kudus are basically like passion projects for me. So whenever I feel like doing something differently, I produce for those aliases, and then I once in a while release. I haven't done anything Kudus lately, but I might get into that again, and then I might do some more Cosmos Sky. But an album,
that's a proper dedication.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a couple EPs, so you're almost there, right?
Yeah, I think I'll stick to Embrace for now with Estiva, and then you're asking a lot.
Yeah, I always have a lot of questions.
Pressure. Do an album. Here you go. Damn. No, I think you played 2 of the Cosmos Sky tracks also in your guest mix.
Yeah.
And, people can listen to it, and you hear the Embrace tracks, and then you hear the Cosmos Sky stuff.
They're a bit deeper, a bit darker usually. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Ross, for.
Thank you.
No worries.
Anyone else have any questions? Dace. Dace has a question for you as well.
Hey,
Hello.
I'm Dace, or Desiree. Well, we just heard your guest mix in the club, which was amazing for me. I love the vibes. We just heard you talking about the insecurities. So if you have to put on your artist mode, as you say it, would you prefer to go to the biggest, most prestigious festivals or like intimate settings like this?
100% intimate settings like this. And that has to do with when you're on a big stage, usually the spaces between you and the audience are very large. So
lights in your face.
Yeah,
spots,
it kind of feels unreal, like you're not there really. But if you're in an intimate setting with people looking like we're looking at each other right now, it feels so real, and that may be scary for the first few minutes, but then it feels a lot more real, and it just resonates me a lot more with me.
But I can also imagine that when we're this close, when you're playing, that you can get really nervous because people are really looking at you.
Oh, it's scary as hell. Sometimes
it's
it is
intimidating.
Yeah,
but it can be intimidating for the audience as well.
Yeah.
So, but if you go through that barrier, then the magic starts to happen, and then you're actually feeling that you're all part of the same thing. And I think that's a lot harder to achieve in a really, really big setting. So
I think it's almost like two different jobs, because on one side you have to, if you play a festival, then imposter syndrome kicks in really hard sometimes, and also feel if you have multiple stages that you have to really fight for your spot. Like if you play one wrong track, then you see people walk away, and most of the time that's a massive kick in the gut for your ego as well. And for example, talking for myself, playing on the second stage for A State of Trance this year, playing against massive artists on the main stage, I was really afraid, to be honest. I was like, holy shit, no one's going to come and watch me, because there are so many other stages with amazing artists playing. Estiva was playing on the other stage as well.
With Estiva, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know that, because that makes a lot of sense.
We were battling,
Yeah, so we were playing at the same time. But sometimes it's super hard. And then what you say, if you play a club, longer sets, people can't go anywhere else. So it's easier to play a Cosmos Guys track, whatever, and people just have to embrace it. They have to embrace it. Yeah, they can't walk away. So you can make a little bit more of a storytelling, I would say, rather than just like banging in tracks.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's I guess it's a very different. I find it more scary to play in front of 5 people than in front of 20,000 people. 100%.
What about you? What do you enjoy more?
Yeah, what do you prefer?
Well, I enjoyed this a lot more. Being this close to you, well, not in a creepy way, but well, I loved it, the intimacy, and I saw you enjoying yourself and smiling back at us while we were smiling at you. And
you feed off each other's energy more.
Yeah, it's more immersive than you can be more anonymous on a big festival, right?
Yeah, that's very true.
And maybe this is a testament to for the whole scene to do more.
I would love to have more clubs, but the thing is that unfortunately clubs are very much struggling right now, because the younger generation doesn't, they spend their monies on festivals, and then it's gone straight away because they become so expensive to go there. And so you see that the club scene is really battling a hard battle, because if you pay, let's say, 20 euros to go and see one artist in the club, or you have to pay 100 euros and see 20 artists on a festival, most of the people go for the festival. So
True.
Maybe it will, like all the people that spend their money one time on a big festival, they will realize at some point, okay, that when their ears are trained enough, they will get back into the smaller events as well.
Let's see.
Yeah,
time will tell. In the meantime, we're super happy for club shows as well, and just to host this for you guys as well, for you to enjoy here in the club. Thank you, Dace, for your question.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
There's only one person left with no questions. Simon, do you have any questions or no? Not at the moment. No, that's fine. Don't worry. We had enough questions already. Already asked about Cosmos Sky and Kudos. Now the album is out. Previously, for the albums you did remix albums as well. Is there something that you're putting out there already? Are there people working already on tracks?
I've heard some already.
Oh,
yeah.
Like
we
what?
Well, the label Colorize just asked me, okay, let's do another remix album as well, and let us know what artist you want to have the remixes for. So I just had quite a big list, and I narrowed it down with my biggest wishes of people that I thought were
impossible. Yeah,
maybe a little bit.
Shoot
and some of them said yes, and then you have to wait and see what they come up with. And
can you already share some names?
No,
come on,
no,
one, just one that's already finished. You know.
No.
I see you doubt it.
Yeah. I don't know if we can do that.
No one's listening.
No. No one's listening. Come on.
No, okay, I respect it. I tried. Come on. Most of the times I manage to get at least one detail out, but I'm not gonna push it because
I'm scared to say something wrong here.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for answering all these questions. Also, guys, thank you for hanging out and coming in with the questions as well.
Thank
you. Yeah, there we go. And thank you so much for listening to this State of Trance podcast. Next time we're going to be here in the studio for Rosie is going to be here. Super cool talent. She also performed for us at the State of Trance in Rotterdam. If you have any questions for her, let us know in the comment section. In the meantime, make sure to check out Embrace, the brand new album of Estiva. It's also out on vinyl. So for all the collectors, even if you don't have a player, it's always nice to have a Frisbee in the house. Right?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much for watching this State of Trance podcast. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in. Check all previous episodes on YouTube or your favorite podcast portal.